Either these companies' valuations need to be cut by 50 or 70%, or you need a massive destruction in the labor market that creates tons of efficiencies that their customers can then flow to the bottom line. And I think what the CEOs are saying is that there's going to be massive efficiencies. I also think that you sound more interesting and it makes your technology sound more seminal when you say it's changing the world and we don't know how to control it. And quite frankly, I find it a little bit obnoxious that some of the founders and key figures in AI catastrophize just about the time they take a secondary and peace out to the Côte d'Azur. That's not helpful. Frankenstein and I've created this monster, but I don't know how to deal with it, so I'm going to go peace out to Saint-Tropez. That's just not very helpful. So the first big fear of catastrophizing is just this unprecedented job destruction. They've been talking about that for 3 years, but let's look at the data. The unemployment rate in the US is 4.5%. Among youth, it's 8.8%. That is slightly below the historical average. The number of new business permits or new businesses started per capita in the United States has doubled in the last 10 years. And we hear about, well, what about Meta? They announced they were laying off, I think, 8 or 10,000 people yesterday. 2019 to 2025, they went from 16,000 people to 80. So even if they go back to 60,000, it takes them back about 24 months. So I don't doubt that there'll be a real dip or a severe V down in certain industries, customer service, probably the legal field. But I believe over the medium and the long term, it's actually going to create more jobs than it destroys. And I think some of the catastrophizing is nothing more than thinly veiled attempt to say my technology is so devastating that it's going to shift society and you should invest at this crazy valuation. Where I will be wrong is if there is sustained job destruction and the new jobs created in new businesses and the employment those jobs create doesn't keep up with new jobs. And there is a scenario. You don't need 100% unemployment like Musk is predicting. At 20% unemployment, the French had a revolution and Weimar Germany turned very ugly. At 20% unemployment, especially among youth, especially young men, tend to get very angry and take to the streets. So you could see a V that's so severe, even if there's a job recovery, if it hits 20% unemployment, that could cause real civil unrest. But I just look at the data. If you didn't know there was this seminal technology that very smart people were predicting a job apocalypse around, and you just looked at the data, you wouldn't know there's anything going on. The data doesn't reflect that there's some big exogenous meteor coming for the employment market.
Is there a case that this technology, because it's built on the internet, so it has inherent rapid distribution? Every day Anthropic release a model, ChatGPT release something, it spreads across the world very quickly and everybody's updating their technology at the speed of light, unlike the Industrial Revolution where you had to build infrastructure and physical infrastructure.